DeMarco Murray had a 50-plus yard touchdown run. Kiko Alonso had a tackle for loss. And Marcus Smith had a sack. God did not want us to lose a football game yesterday. It was terrible. It was awful. Oh, well. It's time for 2016 now. The 2015 season is officially, and thank God, over. Mike Owens, Jeremy Burton are both here, and, well, let's talk some Eagles football.
Yeah, well, this 2015 season was just summed up perfectly in that last game against the Giants because it was really a game that we wanted to lose. Almost a must-lose game for us, but no, we decided that we were going to win the game. And, the week before was a must-win game against the Redskins, and we decided to lose the game. So everything that we didn't want to do, it's what we did. So now the Eagles, instead of, booking a trip to London next year, well, they're going to be booking a trip to Seattle to play the Seahawks.
Yeah, it definitely sums up this season, man. I mean, so many good things could have came out of us losing. We would have picked 3 spots higher in the draft. We would have had to play the Rams instead of Seahawks. But it was a great game. We played really well. Of course, it meant nothing. This just sums up our season, man. Marcus Smith was the MVP of the game. On 12 rushes, he had a sack, 2 hits, and 3 hurries. Career day for Marcus. Is he maybe just a late bloomer?
Well, the Giants' offensive line does suck pretty bad, so it's awful. You guys kind of went over that. We go from picking 10th to 13th. At number 10, you might have had a shot at, say, one of those 2 coveted linemen. You got Laramie Tunsil out of Ole Miss, and you got Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame. Now you're looking at maybe Taylor Decker, the Ohio State product. Maybe you get him. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But right now, let's talk about, well, the head coaching search. Because what else is there to talk about in Philly? Because all of our teams stink. So, from what I've gathered, if you kind of read between the lines, it kind of seems like the Eagles are pursuing Adam Gase. I know that they have 10 to 12 different candidates, according to Chris Mortensen, but if you kind of look at how everything has played itself out, obviously they got rid of Chip Kelly very, very quickly. They didn't wait until Black Monday. They waited until, after Week 16 was over. So you have that going. They've already taken care of the Rooney Rule by interviewing Deuce Staley. The Rooney Rule, obviously, you got to interview at least one black head coaching candidate. And the third thing that's now going on, we're seeing, the other head coaching candidates, well, they're in the playoffs right now. So guys like Hugh Jackson, guys like Josh McDaniels, Sean McDermott, you can interview him now because he's on a bye week. But Adam Gase is the one coveted jewel that's concluded his season. So who else are they going to go after?
Well, pretty much Gase is a guy that we want him to go after, and it's kind of interesting because it seems like this is like everyone has a different opinion on who the Eagles should go after. But we've really looked at this, and we really think that Gase is the right guy for the Eagles. And I think the main thing with him is you get a young guy in here. I mean, he's 37 years old. And with this league anymore, I mean, it's nice to have a guy that has a lot of NFL experience but is still young and is ready to make that leap to becoming a head coach in the NFL. And I think Gase is that guy, and I really think that he could excel here in Philadelphia. I mean, he was able to win a playoff game with Tim Tebow, had a historic year with Peyton Manning, and now he's, he had a good year with Jay Cutler this year. I mean, he actually turned Cutler around this year and really turned him in, have him had a career year. Cutler, really low interception rate this year. So, I think that there's a lot of upside with Gase So I think that's the key. You got to look at, an upside and what a coach can do for you. And I think with Gase, the future will be bright.
I definitely agree. They say we have like 10 to 12 coaching candidates, but look at half of them are probably the likes of, Deuce Staley, Pat Shermer, Terrell Austin, Doug Marrone, Doug Peterson. Let's face it, none of those guys are going to be our head coach. Gase is the one, is the big name here. Mike went through all, kind of his resume a little bit. I love what he brings to the table. Obviously, his youth with still a lot of experience in the league. He can be a coach for the next. He can be our coach for the next, decade plus. He could be that guy, and just keep. He's a genius. He can keep learning and learning. He brings a sort of like mismatch of all different kind of offenses, kind of like a hybrid offense. He can mix in the West Coast. He can mix in the down the field passes, the running game. What he does all through his years has been great. And obviously he's the guy I want. He's the guy you want. I think we all want him. I think all of Philadelphia wants him. So he's coming in here tomorrow, and I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that interview room.
I don't even want him to leave Philadelphia tomorrow. Just get him in and get it done. There's something I did want to talk about before we get into Gase a little further, because there's been a lot more hate towards Gase than I thought there would be. A lot of people are concerned because he is young. He doesn't have, well, he does have coaching experience because he's got 12 years of it. But they're worried that he's 37. They're worried that he coached Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning. And then the third thing is they look at Chicago's record this year and they go, well, they went 6-10. How could Gase be so special? So those are the three things. Do you guys have comments about that?
Yeah, well, the thing this year, I mean, the Bears' offense ended up ranking 20-something in the league, but really mostly that was due to injuries. They had a lot of injuries this year on offense, so that played a big part in it. And so, yeah, I think that's what you got to look at there. So I'm not really worried about that factor and where their offense ranked this year. How I look at it, I really look at what he did with Jay Cutler this year, and I think that's what's more important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jay Cutler's been a turnover machine over his career, consistently. And among all those injuries, Matt Forte went down for a little while, and Cutler and Alshon Jeffrey seemed like he was out every other week. He still made do, and Cutler had one of his best years as far as touchdown to interception ratio, and that's huge for him because he's such a turnover machine in his career. And also the Bears' defense is not what it was. The defense kind of stinks. So, I think playing in a tough division as well. I believe all those factors come into it, and doesn't take away from Gase being a smart offensive mind.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Peyton Manning first. We'll start with that because, I can see the argument there. I can see it. He's like a coach on the field. But since I am a contrarian, I will say this. All right, so you got to coach Peyton Manning. You got to coach one of the smartest football guys that will ever be around in the NFL. I mean, Peyton Manning would be a great coach, I would think. If he ever, when he decides to retire at the end of this year, whatever that is. So you're learning from this guy, Peyton Manning. I mean, that in itself is just awesome, I think. But you look at what he did with that Denver Broncos offense. I mean, obviously evolved into one of the best passing offenses in league history. They had a lot of pre-snap stuff, a lot of coverage recognition aided by formation shifts and motion. There was a lot of that kind of stuff. You had a lot of fine-tuned sort of route combinations, a lot of rub stuff, a lot of spacing elements. And Manning, I mean, he killed it in that offense through it. Precise anticipation, had the correct ball location, obviously, that led to a 55-touchdown season, set an NFL record. I mean, what Gase does, he creates matchups for his best weapons. If you look at what he did with Demaryius Thomas, the way he utilized him, sometimes he'd have the defenses have to match him up with a linebacker just by what his scheme and what his formation was on that particular play. So, I mean, he really accentuates the strengths of his players, and that's just Denver. And what do you guys have to say about the Peyton Manning logic that he's like a coach on the field? We'll get to Chicago, but let's start with Denver right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, what I like with Gase is he has that experience being a quarterbacks coach with the Broncos there, and that's going to help out tremendously with us with the situation that we're in, because that means he can come in here and he's either going to decide if he wants to keep Bradford and develop Bradford for a few years, or if he wants to start over and go with his own guy. So I think him having the experience as a quarterbacks coach in the situation that we're in with our quarterback right now is it's really key.
Yeah, you see people say it's a knock against them to have worked with Peyton Manning, and he's a Hall of Famer, and he takes care of himself. But yeah, I can definitely see it as an asset. You're learning, you're coaching, and also learning, working together with the best, like Adrian said, that has ever played the game and recognized defense and so on and so forth. So it'll be great to bring him in here. We'll actually have some pre-snap reads and audibles for the first time in how many years. That'll be nice to see. So I think Gase's resume speaks for itself and his experience, and at his age, I mean that's rare to find.
Yeah, and just another quick point on something Gase did last year with Denver. Manning, second half of the year, kind of dealt with a thigh injury, suffered a lot of lost velocity on his passes. So Gase went and he converted the Broncos into a more of a kind of power running team. Utilized a sixth offensive lineman in place of Julius Thomas, and the end result, I mean, we remember C.J. Anderson last year because he was one of those popular first, second round fantasy guys. C.J. Anderson last 5 games last year averaged about 130 yards rushing a game. So they switched from the aerial attack, and he was able to switch it to more of a ground-based attack. They went 4-1 down the stretch. So you can see, man, this guy is versatile. He's got a lot of different things that he can do. I mean, I think he's a very sharp, bright football mind. I don't know what you guys don't see. I mean, there's some Gase haters out there. I was getting into arguments yesterday that people were saying they'd rather have Pat Shurmur. Oh. But yeah, that's just another point on Denver there during this time.
I mean, I really have the feeling that Gase is the Eagles' top target. Yes. There's a reason the Eagles, I mean, they made this move with Chip Kelly a week before this last game, because they had a guy in mind that they wanted to go out and they wanted to be the first ones to interview him. And, well, Gase is that guy. I mean, Pat Shurmur, that doesn't really count because he's already on the staff, so they were automatically going to grant him an interview. So Gase is the first guy that they're really going to interview outside of the organization for the possible head coaching vacancy. So I think that shows you that, Gase is the guy that they have their eyes on. And, well, if I'm the Eagles, if Gase comes in and really does a great job in an interview, you really don't let him leave the building. I mean, the Eagles got to do everything they can to get him.
Yeah, I'm praying that it happens tomorrow, man. How great of a news would that be? Don't let him leave. Don't let him leave the building, man. Adrian said like how he adapted to Manning's injury, and it shows his ability to adapt, unlike make changes on the fly, unlike what Chip Kelly was unable to really do well.
What, Jerry?
What?
He made changes. Shut up.
No, he did not. Not drastic changes.
Not drastic, but he made some changes. But go ahead.
But no, let's sign Gase tomorrow. Let's do it.
All right, let's bring him in, baby. Let's bring him in. I'm so giddy about it. Yeah, I mean, like, you guys know I'm a Chip Kelly lover, but I think he's Chip Kelly and then some. So I think this guy is, yeah, you got to go get this guy. All right, so let's move on to Chicago and what he did with Jay Cutler this year. Jay Cutler, for his career, has an interception percentage of 3.4. His interception percentage of 2.3 this year, the second best mark of his career. He set or tied career highs in completion percentage, passer rating, yards per attempt, and didn't get sacked a lot either. So the ball was coming out of his hands, very, very quickly. You consider that Alshon Jeffrey missed like half the season. Running backs, Matt Forte missed some time. So, I mean, what Gase did this year with Chicago was pretty remarkable. Football Outsiders has Chicago ranked as the 10th best offense in the NFL. I'm pretty, like, I know I'm not high on Pro Football Focus, you guys know that, but I do like Football Outsiders. I do like them. I think that, their metrics make a lot more sense than Pro Football Focus, so you got that going. And then even if you look at what Chicago was doing this year, you had some of the West Coast offense in their offense. You had the Mike Martz vertical passing stuff kind of in there too, sprinkled in. You had some zone read stuff, read option stuff, and they switched up the tempos too. So every quarterback he's kind of taught. The offense has been a little bit different, and I just love that about Gase. The versatility is just amazing.
Yeah, well, I've never really been a big Jay Cutler fan, so to see,
I hate him. He's terrible.
yeah, he's horrible. But to see what Gase was able to do with Cutler this year, that's what's really impressive, and that's what I really like about Gase. So I mean, if he can, turn Cutler around, that's promising for whoever if he comes here, whoever Gase would pick to be his quarterback.
I honestly think Gase would do a great job with Bradford. Maybe that's just me, but I think, I know the game meant nothing, but I mean, it was one of Bradford's best games I've seen him play yesterday. Just pinpoint passes. I mean, the Giants weren't playing for anything either, but it was nice to see that from Sam, even if it meant nothing. So I'd be really excited to watch Gase with Sammy. And Adrian mentioned the versatility of Gase's offense, and that gives an unpredictable quality to his offense, unlike Chip, where he was Mr. Predictable.
One of these days, I'm going to make a Chip video, a positive one, because I still love him. He's still in my heart. I'm having trouble with the breakup. Okay, all right. Let's move on. All right, since we are talking about Sam Bradford, Sammy Sleeves, Sam I Am, whatever you want to call him, all I gotta say is this: if the Eagles do decide to sign him to a lucrative extension, he better play like Sleevey Wonder.
I like it. I was waiting for it. That's good.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk about this extension, right? So I think he's probably going to get more money than we think he's going to get, because that's just the way it works. I mean, Michael Vick got a 6-year, $100 million extension. So, the conservative side of us, we're saying, well, we're hoping we can get him for 3 years, $50 million. That's not going to happen. It's probably going to be some crazy deal that we're not going to agree with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will be. These quarterbacks, when they get a chance to get their money, they're going to get it. So, but with the way the quarterback market is set up this year, there's not much out there, and the way that the draft is going to go, there's not many quarterbacks in the draft. So, and the way that Bradford played down the stretch, and then he kind of capped it off with this last game against the Giants, he played pretty well. So I think that, they're at the point where they can get the job done with Bradford. They really are going to have to work in the offseason with surrounding him with talent, especially receivers that can catch the ball, and also guys on the offensive line that can protect them. So that'll be a big part of the game plan in the offseason. But yeah, I mean, Bradford, he's going to get his money, And if the Eagles do go with Gase, I think that Bradford is going to end up staying here.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more on the bandwagon of the idea of re-signing Bradford. And yeah, I'm just gonna have to be okay with him getting, that 90 to 100 million with 40 million guaranteed. But one thing Howie Roseman's kind of good at is making these contracts drawn out, and so it doesn't affect our cap as much. He works the cap well. He does do that. So I think if we can sign him to an extension, we can still be able to fit in, Fletcher Cox and Vinny Curry and among others, and any other free agents we want to sign. But I kind of like the idea of Sammy here. I just have a terrible feeling in my gut that we're going to give him all this money, and preseason or maybe game one of the regular season, you're going to hear that snap of his knee, or something's going to, something is going to kill him. Something's going to kill us because we're Eagles fans, and that's what happens. And, hate to be a pessimist, but, I hope that doesn't happen. I just have a bad feeling. He's going to get his money. He's going to go down. But can't think like that. No way can predict the future, so.
Well, if they sign him to a lucrative extension, they better make sure they have a backup plan. They better draft somebody. But I'm a little concerned about the money because his agent is Tom Condon. That's the same agent as Jeremy Maclin. Jeremy Maclin got overpaid. He got He got $11 million a season with him as his agent. You look at some quarterbacks out there who also represented by Condon. You have Alex Smith and Matthew Stafford. Stafford signed a 3-year, $53 million contract not too long ago. And Alex Smith, I believe he was, he got a 4-year, $68 million contract. So these guys are getting big money. And I would think, in my opinion, Bradford's better than both those guys. So if those guys are getting that kind of money, oh, Lord knows how much Sammy's going to get. You're probably looking 80, 90 million?
Probably around 80 million, I would imagine. That's what you're looking at. What I kind of think is, very ironic about this whole quarterback situation is, and this kind of goes back to Chip Kelly, because this is where Chip Kelly, the GM, hurt himself as Chip Kelly, the coach, because Chip Kelly always said that you need a good backup quarterback to win in this league, which is becoming very true. Look how many teams went down to their fourth quarterback or fifth quarterback this year. So you need backup quarterbacks to win in this league. And, well, Chip Kelly had Mark Sanchez at his backup. And, when Mark Sanchez came into the game, the Eagles would lose. Last year, Mark Sanchez hurt the Eagles. This year, there's a very good chance if Bradford doesn't get hurt this season that the Eagles win the division and they're in the playoffs and Chip Kelly is still here. So it's going to be interesting to see I'm fine if they keep Bradford, but what's going to be the backup plan then? Because it's not going to be Sanchez, so it's going to be interesting to see when the new coach comes in, if it's a guy that they draft or it's someone that they get out in free agency.
I definitely think Sanchez is going to be gone. Whoever comes in here, that's my opinion. And I hope we do get maybe a third rounder, so draft a guy to groom under Sammy. That's the best option in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I would do. At first, I was kind of thinking all right, if you're going to bring Adam Gase in here, I'd rather have them kind of draft a guy. But now that they're picking 13th, you're not going to get Jared Goff or Paxton Lynch. So the more ideal situation is to extend Bradford. And just because you're extending Bradford, this doesn't mean you can't draft a guy. So you could even draft 2 guys if you want to cut Sanchez. And groom 2 guys. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But so I wanted to throw this at you guys because since we still don't really know, about Bradford. He had a great second half of the year, but how much do we really know about him yet? I mean, in terms of winning big games, that performance against Washington wasn't good. He didn't play well rookie year against Seattle. That was pretty much a playoff game. And even if you look back in college, the 2008 or 2009 national championship game against Florida, didn't play well in that game either. Had 2 interceptions. So there's a little bit of a history now where he's not playing well in big games. I love Sammy, but this is concerning to me.
Yeah, I mean it's a little concerning. I mean, I will say this about Bradford. I mean, I really feel bad for the guy because I swear that he's been paired with the worst wide receivers in his NFL career. I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy can't catch a break. He literally was with the Rams. I mean, because I remember when the Eagles, made that trade for Bradford. I went on YouTube just like we all did, and we watched the highlight videos. And it's like every other throw, these receivers are dropping perfect passes. And that's kind of almost the same situation that happened this year. The Eagles receivers, they led the league in drops. So the guy just, he really can't catch a break. So that's why I kind of hope that he can really get a second chance here. And the other thing that sucks with Bradford is he's constantly learning a new system. And now he's automatically going to be thrown into another system if he stays here. So I think for his sake, I would like to, see him stay here and maybe develop in his system for a few years and see what he can do. But, the big game thing is it is a little bit of a concern. But I think we really won't be able to tell until he actually gets into a playoff game, a situation like that.
Yeah, the hope is, we get Gase, and he'll be great for Bradford. He's a quarterback friendly. He'll be a quarterback friendly mind. He'll be able to put Sammy in the position to make plays, and hopefully the receivers will catch the ball. But I think it'll be a QB friendly system. That Sam will have no problem adapting to. I'm not as concerned as his mediocrity, and he's only had 2 NFL games that have really meant a lot. And the supporting cast wasn't great, like Mike said. And I mean, a lot of it goes on the defense. If you look at the Washington game, it wasn't all Sammy's fault. So
yeah. All right. The question I meant to ask, and I didn't ask it before we just had a recent wave, is it better to franchise Bradford? Therefore, you don't have a long-term commitment. If he hits, you can sign him. If he doesn't, maybe you draft a guy and he's waiting in the wings after this year. So, what are your thoughts on possibly franchising Bradford?
Yeah, the problem with that's going to be that the franchise tag is probably going to be extremely high for the quarterback position this year. I believe it was somewhere around $18 million this past season, and I think it's projected to skyrocket to somewhere at the highest level around $25 million. But teams, some of those top quarterbacks, teams could restructure those deals, and that would bring that value down for the franchise tag. But it's not looking. A franchise tag is going to be very, very unlikely. First off, because of that high number that I just mentioned, and second off, I don't think that Bradford is going to settle for a franchise tag. I mean, this guy is looking long term, so I think you're at least locked into a 3-year deal if you want to keep Bradford.
Yeah, I say absolutely not to the franchise tag. Another benefit of a long-term deal, say 4 or 5 years, you can spread that money out through different bonuses, and it's not as big of a cap hit in each individual year. But the franchise tag is straight up like, boom, here's 20 plus million right off your cap. Just strictly from a cap perspective, I don't like it at all. And Sam is not looking short term. He's trying to get locked up somewhere.
Yeah, the reason why I would at least consider it is because I don't think we're going to be a good team next year. So if we're not a good team, who the hell cares about what the cap is? Who cares how much money they're giving them? But I think it's more important that you find your quarterback of the future next year, whatever. But you can sign him to the lucrative deal if you want. So you can go either way, I think. I wouldn't have a problem with franchising him, to be honest with you. But then they also got to re-sign Fletcher Cox. They got to do a lot of other different things, too. They want to re-sign Vinny Curry. So, it's the Eagles have been kind of dealt a bad hand. It's not an easy hand to navigate through.
Thanks to Chip. Thank you, asshole.
It's not Chip's fault.
Oh, it's a lot Chip's fault.
I love Chip. Chip's not here anymore. No more bashing. Not allowed. Now I want to eat a chocolate chip cookie.
Or a brownie.
Well, if you put the walnuts in them, I'll eat them. Oh, man. But, yeah, I mean, all right. Just a stat for you guys before we move on to another topic, because I think there's a bit of there's a myth going around, right, that Sammy's a check-down quarterback. And, he kind of is in a lot of ways. But check this stat out for you guys, because you guys say that he doesn't throw the deep ball enough, right? Right? He was 4th in the NFL with 13 completions of 40-plus yards. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, and some of that comes with the fact that the Eagles got down so big in some of these games late in the season that they were just forced to throw the ball deep because they had to try to come back somehow. So, that plays a part in it. The thing that I was, always mad about this year with Chip Kelly and the offense, and is that they didn't give Bradford enough attempts to throw the ball down the field, because when Bradford did throw the ball down the field, it was usually a perfect pass for a touchdown. The one that I'll always have in my head is that deep pass, to Aguilar for a touchdown. It was a great deep ball. So I would love to see the Eagles get a coach in here that's not afraid to air the ball out with Bradford, because I don't think that, it's a shame that he gets that, check down Charlie name, because that's really not who Bradford is. He does have the ability to go down the field too.
Yeah, it's one of the things growing to really like about Sleevey Wonder himself is is he can throw the deep ball, and some of those were. I remember there was a Huff play. It was a shorter pass, but he, a lot of yards after the catch. There's some of those, but because you said he was one of the top 5 in the league and over 40 yards. But Sammy can do it all, and it's just kind of that stat's kind of not really noticed as much, because we've seen just so many little. He loved that little swing pass and the little check down. So, but a lot of that is our receivers not getting open, so he has to check the ball down, or else those check downs could have turned into a deep pass if our another deep pass if our receivers got open. So, it shows that Sammy can do it all.
Yeah. So, moving on. Let's talk about this game now. Over a half an hour into the show, we're finally talking about this game yesterday. Pat Shurmur got himself a little tryout to be a head coach yesterday. Well, head coach again. And 2 things that he did specifically that were good. He let Bradford have more freedom at the line of scrimmage. Chip Kelly, very hands-on, very dictatorship-like. He doesn't let his quarterback do anything. And the other thing he was doing was switching up the tempos too, which Bradford said post-game was very, very, very beneficiary towards the entire offense. So those were the 2 things. And Marcus Smith played well.
Yeah, and the other thing was, DeMarco Murray finally got that, the run from under center. Murray lined up about 7 yards behind the cornerback, and, well, there goes Murray, down for, a long touchdown run, something that we expected to see from the beginning of the season. But it took until Pat Shurmur was the head coach before they figure that out. But yeah, no, I mean Shermer did a nice job with. I mean the week that he was handed. I mean this really shocked all of us that it happened, so soon with the firing of Chip Kelly. So I thought the guys responded well under Shermer, and yeah, really, I mean. It went how I expected. I do not want Shermer to be the head coach here, but I do think that he would be a good guy to keep on as the offensive coordinator with Bradford if you keep him.
Yeah, I agree with that. If we keep Bradford, I think Shermer and his continuity with Bradford wouldn't be a bad choice to keep on as some sort of maybe offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach, something like that. The guys played well yesterday. I don't think Shermer is as bad of a coach as his record shows. I believe his record is 9-23 in the 2 years with the Browns, and it was the Browns, so let's you can put a little asterisk there. The Browns always stink and they hire idiots.
Well, you can look at it two ways, because if they hire idiots, then he's an idiot. But maybe the record is skewed.
Yeah. But, I obviously like the DeMarco Murray run. He switched things up a little bit with the tempo. And, the guys played well for him. The offensive line played well. Connor Barwin had a nice rush and made that interception happen with Thurman. And like you said, Marcus Smith had the game of his life. So, it was nice to see the guys play well. And even though it meant nothing. And I don't see Pat Shermer being our coach, but, I think he deserved consideration to stick around as a coordinator.
Yeah. Well, just to comment on DeMarco Murray, how many yards did he have after that carry, by the way?
I think 14.
14.
Yeah, he has a 54, maybe 15. I think he ended with like 69 yards, and that was a 54-yard scamper on his first carry.
4-yard scamper. I like the word scamper. Scampered in there. Yeah. So I mean the pro Shermer people, just to get back to this topic again really quick. They also say, well, because Sammy said after the game that he would be very interested to return if Shermer was given consideration to be head coach, and if he is head coach, he will definitely come back. See, my counter to that is, well, just bring him back as an offensive coordinator. That's it for me. If you like him so much, well, then bring him back. Bring him back to be the OC. I got no problems with that, but to be the head coach of this team, to go from Chip Kelly to Pat Shermer, whoa. That ain't working for me, bro. That ain't working. So, yeah, just to comment on that real quick. Let's see. What other topics do we want to talk about? I guess we'll kind of wrap this show up, because I did want to keep this a little shorter than the other ones we normally do. So let's just talk real quick about Chip Kelly rumors. He's being tied to San Francisco. You got Tennessee. You got Cleveland. And now the Giants. Oh, if he goes to the Giants, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I want to root for the guy, but I can't root for him if he goes to New York.
Yeah, boy, I can't imagine that Chip Kelly is going to be staying on the East Coast, especially New York. That would just be another big media market. And I mean, if that happened, could you even imagine his introductory press conference? It would be like a Tim Tebow press conference. So, yeah, I can't imagine that'll happen. I could see where I really think he's going to go is the 49ers. Now, I don't think it's going to work out there, but I think that's where he's going to end up.
If he goes there, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, it really is. But I can tell you about the Giants and Chip. Chip is just stroking it with the idea of working with Odell Beckham Jr. He's just stroking away. He's salivating at that opportunity. He loves Beckham. And I think he would honestly utilize him very well. But I would hate for him to go to the Giants. Well, I just don't want to see him. I would love to beat him twice, but I would hate it if he actually beat the Eagles, and that would be horrible. I think he would fit in with Kaepernick and the Niners, but because he likes the West Coast. But I think that franchise is just set back. I mean, look what they brought in Tom Sula and fired him after just 1 year. I mean, I think that's a mess over there. The Browns are always a mess. These are the teams he's linked to. So I don't know where he's going to end up, but I'd rather. I don't know how I feel about him going to the Giants.
Well, obviously he's got a fascination with Beckham because, I mean, the first thing I thought of was, well, maybe we can get Beckham for Kiko. Yeah, that was my initial reaction. I'm like, well, maybe we could do something stupid. But yeah. I mean, San Francisco, their personnel right now, they got nothing. That team just got completely wiped away last offseason. I don't see how that can be. Yeah, I don't see how that can work. Cleveland is just a disaster too. Tennessee would be the ideal situation, but if that was going to happen. Not that it would have happened already, but we'd be hearing a lot more about it. We wouldn't be hearing about all these other teams. I don't know if Tennessee's interested.
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee is really that interested. Like you said, we would have heard something already. There would be rumors going around already. So, the reason I say I think he's going to the 49ers and another choice would be the Browns is just because of the way those organizations are built. They're just bad organizations at this point. So I think that they would be willing to take the risk and make a decision like that. And I think that Chip, he needs to have full control. So I think that they would be willing to give him full control. And I mean, they're both bad organizations. So I mean, there's not too much you can blow up. It can't make it much worse in both spots. So I think they would be. They're probably those two spots are probably his best options to land.
I think he was also tied with the Dolphins. They have they're a mess in the front office too. But they have a couple pieces on offense and defense, and namely like Ndamukong Suh. They got Jarvis Landry, Devontae Parker, a couple receivers down there, and Tannehill is locked up for long term. He's been inconsistent, but maybe Chip can do something with him. I'm anxious to see where Chip goes so I can root against him.
Well, I don't see Miami because they already tried to bring in Chip's disciple, Bill Lazor, in as offensive coordinator. He got fired, so I don't know how Miami would work. I can see Terrell Austin going to Miami. That's like almost a definite to me because he worked with Ndamukong Suh last year, defensive guy. That defense, needs to get better. I mean, there's a lot of talent on that defense, and they didn't play up to their capabilities the last 2 years, really. So that's the way I would look there. All right. I guess I don't know. Do we plan on doing another show this week? Because maybe we could wait to do kind of a playoff thing until then. Do we want to do another one this week?
Unless a head coach gets signed, I don't see us doing another one this week.
Yeah. I just haven't made playoff picks yet. It's just too early. Well,
why don't we? The playoff predictions. We can send them to you, then you can put them in the comment section below.
Yeah. All right. Because Jeremy and we tied for the regular season.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
We tied. Our season came down to the 49ers and Rams game.
At overtime.
So I'm just sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh man. And
then the kick. There was the kick that was blocked. Oh my god.
And I yelled and I screamed and I said, "Fuck you" to that. And my parents were wondering why I was getting all emotional about Rams 49ers.
We can. We'll send you playoff picks and all that.
All right. Yeah, I guess we'll just do it. Yeah, week by week we'll start. I mean, because I was gonna. All right, we'll do that. We'll do this now. Because I don't have a Super Bowl pick yet, but we'll just do a quick roundtable on our Super Bowl pick and then final thoughts. So, all right, Super Bowl pick, final thoughts, go. Let's get the show over with.
Oh man, this is tough. Yeah, you're putting me on the spot. I don't even know if I decided on a champion yet.
Neither have I.
Jeez. Because I really have to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think in the NFC, the team to watch out for is the Seahawks. I'm going either with Seattle or Arizona in the NFC. And then AFC, I'm looking at either the Steelers or the Broncos.
Mm. Oh man, I'm like trying to think. I'm like right there with what Mike just said too. It's going to be a Super Bowl rematch of sorts. It's either going to be Seattle and the Patriots or Seattle and the Broncos. That's what I think.
Yeah, the AFC is kind of a mess because like the top seeds aren't playing that well right now. Denver hasn't really looked that great the last couple weeks. They got off to that great start. Same thing with New England, that undefeated start. I mean, they just lost to the Dolphins. Ew. I mean, like, we lost to the Dolphins. Ew. It's terrible. So
I think Peyton comes in and like just now he's just going to go on a little final run. Watch it happen after another week of rest. Watch.
Yeah, I kind of see that. My two AFC teams, I'm thinking of Denver and Pittsburgh. But like Seattle's my NFC team. Are we really going to see 2 6 seeds in the Super Bowl? You know, that'd be insane. So I'm going to go Seattle-Denver. I think Denver because of the defense, and I think Peyton, you could see that they got a boost yesterday. They got a spark when he came onto the field yesterday. So you can only hope that kind of pulls through for them, and that's going to lead them to victory. So I think that Broncos-Steelers game, AFC divisional playoffs, the winner of that game will go to the Super Bowl. We're going to see Arizona and Seattle in the NFC. No, I don't buy Carolina. I did for a little bit, but I don't like the way they're playing last couple of weeks either. So I think Seattle's going to beat them. So Seattle, and I'll go Denver, and then Seattle wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I really did. I liked the Cardinals there for a while in the NFC, but now with the way that it's shaking out, it looks like they might have to play the Seahawks again. And I do not like that matchup for the Cardinals there against the Seahawks. The Seahawks just match up very well against them, which was evident in this matchup this past week. So, yeah, I'm going to say that I'm going to go. It's going to be Seattle, Denver, and I'm going to say that the Broncos pull it out.
All right. Peyton, baby.
Yeah, I would love to see Peyton get another one. Yeah, I kind of agree. With I was either going to say Seattle and the Broncos or Seattle and the Patriots, but I mean the Patriots are losing 4 out of the last 6. And I do see, I see the Broncos with the momentum. They just hopped into the 1 seed. Playoff, championship goes through Denver. The AFC championship goes through Denver. I think Peyton Manning's going to add another one to the trophy case as well.
A team to watch out for that you might laugh at first, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Watch out for them. I
mean, 10 in a row. You can't. They've won 10 games in a row. They started off 1-5. I remember saying like, "Oh man, Andy Reid's fucked. What an awful start. 1-5. Jamal Charles is getting hurt. Dude, 10 straight wins and they're still going strong. I mean, they had a chance to win the division yesterday if the Broncos lost.
Yeah, and we laughed at the prospect of Doug Peterson becoming the head coach, but I will say this: I like the offense that they have there. They've got like a hybrid West Coast offense / they got the Utah spread option attack because Alex Smith used to play for Urban Meyer at Utah. And there's a little bit of that, sort of style in there. There's some read option stuff that they have there, little pistol stuff that you see. It's not your traditional Andy Reid offense. It's he's adapting to the times. And yeah, I miss Big Red too. I miss that tomato.
Oh yeah, he's the Kool-Aid man over there, and they're gonna smoke the Texans.
Yeah,
smoke them.
Yeah. So, they're a team to watch out for. NFC, I mean, Seattle, we obviously talked about. They're the 6th seed. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if the Redskins beat the Packers.
Shut up.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Packers are playing pretty bad. Pretty
Yeah.
bad.
I probably don't have the balls to pick it,
No.
but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I think it's happening. The Redskins are going to beat the Packers.
Woo! There it is.
No, yeah, that was actually. If they had to play the Seahawks, the Redskins had no shot. But they match up pretty well against the Packers. The Packers' offense is just not the same. I mean, they had trouble with the Vikings in Lambeau. So it's I think, but the Redskins are only going to win that game. That's the only one. But I just think that it's a favorable matchup for the Redskins. And even if the Eagles had made the playoffs, I would say that the Eagles would have a shot against the Packers. I
would agree.
I just am not really high on the Packers right now.
They can't run the ball at all. Everything goes on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders, and Randall Cobb has been awful. I mean, that loss of Jordy Nelson really.
Oh, we lost
Oh.
him. He got too excited. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Well, we're about to end this thing anyway. But
yeah.
So what was it? Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, yeah. That Jordan Nelson injury was a lot worse than I thought it would be. I thought the Packers would still go like 11-5 and still win the division, and didn't go that way, unfortunately. But I guess we'll just end this now because Jeremy left us. He left us.
Yeah, we set out maybe we'll wait off to do a playoff thing, but we actually got a pretty good playoff.
We got a little bit. I mean, I just don't know who I'm gonna pick yet. I really don't know. But now that you're saying Redskins, that makes me feel better about it. Because my initial reaction, I'm like, dude, Redskins are gonna win this game. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and now I'm like, oh, maybe not. But then you go and say that, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games. Whoever wins are losing in the next round anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But I think that the playoffs this year, it's really going to be fun because there's not one team that you look at and say, wow, they're the clear-cut favorite to win this thing. We're talking about possibly 2 number 6 seeds playing in the Super Bowl, so that just shows you this thing is wide open and it can go any direction.
Yeah, besides the Texans and the Redskins and maybe the Packers, I think any of those teams can win it. Even the Bengals. Even
the Bengals. They get Dalton back. Yeah, anything's possible. So yeah, it should be exciting.
All right. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
We're embracing Gase now, so let's hope that tomorrow is a big day. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I know that we'll be paying attention all day, the Twitter and all the rumors that come up about how the interview is going and all that.
Oh, I can't wait. Embrace Gase. Embrace him. Embrace him. All right, we're getting out of here. Later, go Birds, and I got nothing else. That's it. Bye.
See ya.